key OpenAI whistleblower found dead by apparent suicide.
Did he fall onto some bullets down a elevator shaft?
Down an elevator shaft onto some bullets. I always thought that was a little suspicious. Suchir Balaji, and I really hope that I'm sure that I'm butchering that, and I want to respect his memory. But a 26-year-old former OpenAI researcher was found dead in his San Francisco apartment. And then so we have mixed reporting, left 28%, right 43%, mostly high factuality at 40%. So seems to be pretty down the middle reported article where everybody's reporting on it. USA News site broke the news 3 days ago. The first article that we're going to read is from the Rio Times, which is a right-leaning article, just to kind of get an idea what the right's saying about it, and then we're going to go to another news source that's actually from Italy that I translated into English, so we can kind of see how it's being reported differently from other countries.
Awesome,
so,
cool.
We're going to start out here with the Rio Times. OpenAI whistleblower. Untimely death sparks debate on AI ethics. So the tech world took notice when a former OpenAI researcher was found dead in his San Francisco apartment at 26. He had recently made waves by speaking out against his former employer's practice. He joined OpenAI in 2020, fresh out of UC Berkeley, believed that AI could solve major problems like disease and aging. However, his outlook changed during his time in the company. In August 2023, he resigned. 2 months later, he gave an interview to the New York Times, which I have, and we'll go over that, expressing concerns about copyright violations in AI training. He argued that chatbots like ChatGPT are damaging the internet.
I kind of would agree. I do have a lot of concerns when it comes to AI. There is some valuable things that you can use it for. There really, really are. I mean, I use it for doing Photoshop stuff. Like, I won't make AI thumbnails, but, it's very common where you just wish like it didn't cut off the top of somebody's head on that picture, and you can just go AI it, and then it fixes it, and that's great. That's super cool. But trying to generate brand new stuff, it usually tends to just be ripping off someone else's work, and I don't like that.
Right, and that's kind of where what this whole thing is that when we go on to read more, we'll find out that he apparently had evidence against OpenAI that they were violating copyright law.
Knowingly?
Yeah, knowingly violating copyright law.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, so OpenAI defended its method, stating it uses publicly available data and followed fair use principles. This disagreement highlights the ongoing debate about AI ethics and data usage. His death on November 26th came while he was involved in a lawsuit against OpenAI. He and other publishers were suing the company over the use of copyrighted material in AI training. San Francisco Police Department found no evidence of foul play in his death. OpenAI expressed sorrow at the news and offered condolences to the family. This incident has reignited discussions about ethical practices in AI development and underscores the challenges faced by those who speak out against the industry giants.
Well, okay, so fine, and that's fine and all, but I always think it's kind of strange, well, there's already a debate going on about this and about ethics, and they're like, oh, somebody died, so it needs to reignite. We should just still be talking about it.
Right.
It's
absolutely.
Why would him dying make us now care about it more? I don't understand. I don't really understand how this kind of stuff works.
Well, again, like I said, this is
strange.
This is a right leaning reported article, so that just kind of gives you the framing of it. But when we go into, like I said, this article from Italy, I believe, and like I said, I've got it all. Google's already translated it all into English, so the translation may be a little bit off, but hopefully we're going to be pretty close, and it seems like we can get the gist of the facts from it. So
okay.
26-year-old analyst was found dead in his San Francisco apartment in November. He had given an interview to the New York Times in which he denounced the unfair practices by the brand led by Sam Altman, former AI company we led behind ChatGPT. Has publicly expressed concerns about possible copyright infringement. Was found dead in his apartment a few weeks ago in San Francisco. The body of the 26-year-old analyst was found on November 26 by local police and was later determined that the young professional committed suicide. He'd recently given an interview to the New York Times. Again, we're kind of going over the same things here. But here is the actual link to the New York Times article. So we have that article in the link to the article in this actual article here. Also a link to his X account, which he had recently opened, perhaps precisely in view of his public outing or outcrying. Outing, yeah. The analyst had retracted the interview or retraced the interview with the American newspaper, recalling how he'd worked for a year and a half at ChatGPT, and then after taking interest in the reports in the company he was receiving, he concluded that these products can create substitutes that compete with the data that they are trained on. The same reason why both OpenAI and its main investors, Microsoft, are facing several lawsuits from the media and publications, including the New York Times itself, for copyright infringement.
Right.
And, so like they're going into like why exactly they're facing these allegations.
Right, because if you have something that's being trained on other people's property and then you're competing against that property with the stuff that you are then basing it off of that property, that's pretty unethical.
You're basically using what they have already created, their copyright protected material.
Right.
Whether it's fair use or not, that's what's trying to be determined here. So,
I mean, we've had that conversation over on YouTube for a long time with like reaction content and like how much do you need to add to it to be actual fair use? Where's the line? And that really comes down to just like the policy of the platform ultimately. But it's a conversation that we can all have and we can all kind of like work through and debate. There are some people that they'll do react content where they're like, wow, guys, you got to check this out. And then it's just a video that they're like watching. And then at the end, they're like, wow, that was crazy. And that's
like,
fair
subscribe.
use. Yeah. No.
Yeah, absolutely. So, getting a little further into it. So, we've got the response from OpenAI, which is, pretty generic. So we're devastated to hear this incredibly sad news today, and our hearts go out to Suchir's loved ones in this difficult time. He also had a blog, which again seems to be open precisely with the intention of coming out into the open. The only published post, he took stock of how generative AI must be structured to be able to talk about fair use, correct use of the platform itself and the data it uses, the need to protect employees of companies that work on AI, and concerns expressed last June by a group of professionals who work for Google's DeepMind and OpenAI.
Right.
So again, they've got a link to his actual blog. So here is the New York Times article that he took part of, which is in October 23rd, 2024. So less than 2 months ago, he was part of this article with the New York Times, right? And then he opens this blog post around the same time and goes on about the structure of ChatGPT and the programming methods and how everything works. And I'm not going to go through all of this. There, you can find the link to the blog post and read through it if you'd like. It's very interesting. But basically summarizes that, what they're doing is not fair use, and lays out pretty much why. So it seems pretty suspicious to me to say that within a month and a half of coming out into the open about this, that he commits suicide. So
it is,
and now I want to put a little bit of skepticism on that, because like I said, the in the articles it clearly states that the San Francisco police have no reason to suspect foul play.
Right.
But when you're a corporation with billions of dollars, I think that you could probably afford to like hire the best hitman. I'm just saying, like,
that's a bold claim.
It is a bold claim, and I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying, like hypothetically or whatever here. So
it is very strange. It's weird when things like this kind of go together. Maybe there's a lot more to it that we just don't know about this person. But what I do think is interesting, because being on YouTube as long as I have and having worked in this industry for a long time, the conversations about fair use are very heated. There's a lot there. There's a lot of meat to chew on. There's a lot to try and figure out and discuss and debate, because it interfaces with the notion of free speech, with creativity, et cetera, et cetera. And as I was looking over at that blog post, it looks like he's making a compelling argument. The problem is that most of the time when we have these conversations on YouTube or any other platform that does a lot of video, these are people of just private interests. These are just personal people that are having these debates and these conversations with these companies. OpenAI and Microsoft are massive, powerful companies, and they're arguing, no, it's cool. I'm like, well, it doesn't look like it's cool. Maybe we should have a conversation. No, it's cool. And I do think it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Sure, absolutely. And I think that we need to seriously be skeptical of situations like this where we have people who are witnesses in cases that just happen to mysteriously wind up having, these accidents or self-harm instances that they never would have had, before this or anything like that. I think that we need to be skeptical when these things happen, more so, and even maybe outraged, because it happens time after time after time after time.
I do think because of the amount of money that's involved in this, that a degree of skepticism is, of course, warranted. What I would really like to know is what their family says.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really an important question to ask too, because if their family, if his family were to come forward and say, no, he's actually kind of unstable, he was really unhappy, he was pulling away, but if he was there for Thanksgiving dinner, or, well, I guess I don't know exactly when the date was, but like if things were normal leading up until that point, like, I don't know. It's just really...
It's bad timing.
Very suspicious.
It's very, very strange.
Well,
that is interesting, and I do think it's worth public note of pointing out that that this guy was specifically looking at that, and maybe we need a stronger discourse specifically around the findings that he had. So we'll see.
So,
and you're really big into the AI world and this kind of debate, so you'll have to follow up on this in the future.
Yeah, I'm. It's definitely something that I watch. It's on my recommended list of subjects and things like that. Ames said I think the phrase that you're looking for is allegedly. I think you are correct, Ames. Allegedly. We'd like to preface that everything on Nightly News this morning is allegedly.
Allegedly.
Hey, if you like news,
I like news.
If you like news, be sure to check out more videos right here on this channel like this one.
We have news.
And, Jeff, we have a live show.
Do we have a live show? That would be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays when we do this.
Right here on this channel.
And also on Twitch.
So be sure to check us out.
So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.
We'll be right here.
That actually wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's fine.